Hello students. So students, in the previous class in this chapter, that is chemical reaction and equation, we were talking about the chemical reaction. When we were discussing about the chemical reaction, we have seen that basically a chemical reaction involves the reactant and product. Reactant, they react together and thus there is a formation of a new substance which is having the new properties entirely different from the substance it is made up of, and that is known as a product. So chemical reaction basically involves the reactant and that of the product. Now how do we come to know that this reaction comes under a chemical reaction, or we can say that here a chemical reaction takes place? So we are able to tell because of some features, because of some characteristics, and the characteristic itself explains about the chemical reaction that takes place. You see students, if we talk about the chemical reaction characteristics, so the first characteristic is the evolution of gas. Second one, formation of precipitate. Then change in the color also, color if got changes. Then change in the temperature also, if the temperature become low, if the temperature become high after the reaction, that is also comes into the chemical reaction. And finally, change in the state also. All these things comes under the chemical reaction. You see students, if we talk about the first one, that is evolution of gas. In the evolution of a gas, we have seen like zinc granules, when you add it into the dilute sulfuric acid, then there is a formation of a bubbles occur in the test tube or in the conical flask wherever we have taken it. Then that bubbles actually indicate of a gas which is coming out through this reaction. And the gas which is evolving due to the zinc granules and the dilute sulfuric acid reaction, that is a hydrogen gas. And we are able to detect the hydrogen gas with the help of a burning splinter. So when we carry a burning splinter near to the mouth of the conical flask, then what happens? It will produce a pop sound. And this help in identifying the gas which is evolving during this reaction. We have seen even in the case of a photosynthesis, we are knowing that the plants, they used to take the raw material including the carbon dioxide, water in the presence of a sunlight. When the reaction takes place, then there is a formation of a gas and that is called as the oxygen. Even you can see this respiration is also a kind of a chemical reaction in which carbon dioxide is released. So this is what? This is the evolution of a gas. Other students, we can take an example of a sodium carbonate. When sodium carbonate, it reacts with the dilute hydrochloric acid, then there is a formation of a sodium chloride, formation of a water, as well as a gas will also evolve that is called as the carbon dioxide gas. How we will come to know that this is a carbon dioxide gas? By passing the carbon dioxide gas into a lime water, what happens? The lime water turns milky. So this proves that carbon dioxide evolves from it. Okay, so this is what, these are some of the examples related to the evolution of a gas, and it is important student because the question related to the reaction can be asked. Now moving on and see the formation of a precipitate. Let me write the definition of the precipitate and then we will understand it. Precipitate definition is, a precipitate is a solid product a solid product which separates out from the solution during a chemical reaction. So a solid product which is formed in a reaction which is insoluble in a solution that separates out from the solution is called as a precipitate. Now, how a precipitate can be formed, students? It can be formed by mixing aqueous solution. By mixing aqueous solution of reactant when one of the product is insoluble. When one of the products is insoluble. When one of the product is insoluble in water. Okay. So let us start with the formation of the precipitate. It can be any reason, student, by passing a insoluble substance into the aqueous solution, by passing a gas into an aqueous solution, that will also create a precipitate. Like passing of a carbon dioxide into a lime water, then there is a formation of a precipitate. That's why we used to say that the lime water turns milky. So that milky substance is actually the precipitate only. What we have to understand, what is our concern, is this solid product. The solid product which is an insoluble one, which do not dissolve into the solution. So if it is not dissolving into the solution, it separates out. Okay, and how it separates out? In the form of a solid, it remains settled at the bottom of the test tube. Okay, and that we call as a precipitate itself. So when a chemical reaction takes place, you will find that there is a solid product formed, settled at the bottom of the test tube, and that is called as a precipitate. If you will take this solution which consisting of the precipitate and try to filter it with the help of a filter paper, you will find that the precipitate will remain on that of the filter paper. It does not passes through the filter paper. Reason? The same, it is not soluble into the solution. It is a solid product, so it can be separated with the help of a filter paper. Okay, so if in a chemical reaction precipitate is formed, we will include them into a chemical reaction itself. Now let us see. Formation of a precipitate. So first of all, we will take an example of a potassium iodide and lead nitrate. Okay, so a reaction. Potassium iodide. Let me write the reaction point by point and we will write the reaction itself. So first of all, we will take a lead nitrate solution in a test tube. Lead nitrate solution in a test tube, in a beaker. Then we will add a potassium iodide in it. Potassium iodide solution to it. Potassium iodide solution to it. What we will observe, that there is a formation of a yellow precipitate. Formation of a yellow precipitate of lead iodide. Precipitate of lead iodide is formed. Lead iodide precipitate is formed. Now here what happened? Here two things happen, students. The first thing, formation of precipitate, and the second one is the yellow color. So change in color also happens. And change in color is also a characteristic chemical reaction. It is also a characteristic of a chemical reaction. So lead nitrate solution is there. When we will take a lead nitrate solution in the test tube, and then we will add the potassium iodide in it. When we add the potassium iodide, it will change its color to yellow at the formation of a yellow precipitate occur. That yellow precipitate is of lead iodide, and this we call as a chemical reaction. Now here the thing that should be noted, that not only the formation of a precipitate but also change in color happen. So we will include them that also in a chemical reaction, student. Let me write the reaction, what happened when the lead iodide, when the lead nitrate react with the potassium iodide. You see that potassium lead nitrate, it means PbNO3 whole twice. Okay, that is what? That is a lead nitrate. When this reacts with potassium iodide, that is Ki. Then there is a formation of a lead iodide. Lead iodide is represented by Pb iodide, PbI2. Lead iodide plus KNO3, that is potassium nitrate. Okay, now see, okay, that is a lead iodide. Now this lead iodide, when you look at it, it is yellow precipitate. Okay, now you see, students, for a precipitate we use this arrow that is in the downward direction. Let me tell you here one thing. When we were talking about the gases like hydrogen gas or a carbon dioxide gas or oxygen, you have seen I always make a arrow which is towards upward. It is showing that gas, it is moving in the upward direction. So this help in telling that the product is a gaseous product. Okay, and when we talk about this arrow which is in the downward direction, this proves that whatever the product is formed is settled down at the bottom. It is going at the downward direction. So that is indication for the precipitate only. So for precipitate we use an arrow which is at the downward direction, and for gas we use an arrow which is at the upward direction. Okay, so formation of a yellow precipitate occur. Okay, so potassium iodide and formation of a yellow precipitate occur. KNO3 is what, student? It is potassium nitrate. Potassium nitrate. Okay, so this is about that also. We are able to balance it also. That is 2Ki. Yes. Okay, now it will balance. So this is the first example of the formation of the precipitate. Moving on, and we can see the next example also. So that is a reaction between the barium chloride with that of the sodium sulfate. I hope this reaction we have already studied in class 9. So let me remind you that what happened when the reaction take place with the sodium sulfate and barium chloride. Instead of sodium sulfate, we can also use the sulfuric acid. That will also help in producing a precipitate. So let me write the first reaction, that is reaction between and sodium sulfate. Now you see here student, what is the formula of a sodium sulfate? Na2SO4. When this sodium sulfate, it reacts with the barium chloride, BaCl2. Then there is a formation of a barium sulfate plus sodium chloride. Barium sulfate, which is a white precipitate. Okay, and sodium chloride. Okay, so you can see here students, when the sodium sulfate, it reacts with that of the barium chloride, then there is a formation of a white precipitate which settle down at the test tube, that is of a barium sulfate and sodium chloride is formed. Okay, so this also comes into the precipitation reaction. Instead of using the sodium sulfate, we can also use a sulfuric acid. Let me show you that what happened when we use the sulfuric acid. So like if suppose we use the sodium sulfate, H2SO4. Okay, so we have used sulfuric acid and barium chloride. It is in the aqueous solution of the barium chloride. Here also it is also an aqueous solution. This is what? This is the sulfuric acid. Now what happened? Again there is a formation of a barium sulfate student, which is what? Which is a white PBT, and HC hydrochloric acid is formed. Okay. Okay, so you can see here students, instead of using the barium chloride and sodium sulfate, we can also use the sulfuric acid and barium chloride. The reaction help in the formation of a white PBT. So you can see that here also there is a formation of a precipitate, and if in a reaction formation of a precipitate occur, that will prove the characteristic of a chemical reaction students. Okay, so this is about the formation of a precipitate. Moving on and see the change in color, which is also a characteristic of a chemical reaction. Change in color. So this is the third one students, that is change in a color. So when we talk about the change in a color, you will find that there are some of the reaction in which when the reaction occurs, then there is a change in the color occur in that of the product which is formed, or the color of that of the reactant and that of the product are differ from each other. That is a characteristic of a reaction, of a chemical reaction. How we can understand with the help of example, student, that how change in color comes in under a chemical reaction. So if suppose we have taken a citric acid, when reacts with potassium permanganate, potassium permanganate, the color of the permanganate changes to colorless. It means citric acid, students, any of the citric acid you take, like even in the lemon juice also, that is also consisting of a citric acid. So when the citric acid, it reacts with that of the potassium permanganate. Basically what happens, students, that is potassium permanganate is in purple color. Okay, so if suppose in a test tube or in a beaker you have taken the potassium permanganate and then you add drop by drop lemon juice to that of the potassium permanganate to this KMnO4, the color of the potassium permanganate, which is purple, it slightly becomes, the color starts becoming fade and finally it becomes colorless. Okay, so at first it was purple in color, but after reaction you will find that becomes colorless. So this is the change in the color. So this we can also say that a reaction which take place between the two reactants. Okay, another example, student, we can take that not only the citric acid, but when the oxalic acid reacts with that of the potassium permanganate. Oxalic acid, when it reacts with the potassium permanganate, that is purple color, then the color, it starts disappearing and finally it will become colorless. Okay, so we can write it, that is purple color of potassium permanganate disappears. Purple color of KMnO4 disappears. Okay, so this is what, this also comes into the change in color, students. Then the next one is, even when we add sulfur dioxide into a acidified potassium dichromate solution, there is a change in the color from orange to green. Okay, so if we write it about that also, that is acidified potassium dichromate. Acidified potassium dichromate, which is orange in color. When sulfur dioxide gas is passed through it, it changes from orange, changes its color from orange to green. Okay, it changes its color from orange to green. So we can also write the reaction, that is, if suppose potassium dichromate, students, so the formula for potassium dichromate is K2Cr2O7, that is orange in color. Then sulfur dioxide, that is SO2. Then the orange color of potassium dichromate, that is K2Cr2O7, changes to green. Okay, so the orange color of potassium dichromate changes to green. Okay, this was about the change in the color, students. Okay, this was about in change in color. Moving on and see the next characteristic, and that is change in temperature. Change in temperature. Change in temperature. Now you see, students, when we talk about the change in temperature, the question arises that how the change in temperature occur, or why did this temperature change take place. Basically what happened, when the chemical reaction take place, it produces energy, or for a chemical reaction heat is required, so it needed energy. So there are some of the reaction when the reactant react together, there is a production of a lot of heat energy. Okay, lot of energy in the form of a heat, you can say. So there, before that, the temperature of the reactant was normal, but after the reaction, when the reactant they react together, then the temperature becomes high, the energy releases, and due to which heat is produced and temperature rises up. So before that, temperature was below, it was less, but after reaction the temperature increases. So this is the change in the temperature itself. Chances is also there in which that after reaction the temperature becomes lower down. Okay, so there the temperature lowers down, so here also from the higher to the lower, so there also a change in the temperature occur. Okay, and on the basis of that, we have also divided the reaction in exothermic and endothermic. In case of a exothermic, exo means outer, thermic means heat, endo means inside, you can say. Thermic means heat. So a reaction in which heat is given out, heat is produced, that kind of a reaction is a exothermic reaction. And a reaction in which heat gets inside, heat is required, heat is used up, such kind of a reaction is an endothermic reaction. Here the product heat energy is evolved, so the temperature rises from the reactant to product. Here, since the heat is absorbed so that the reaction can take place, so such kind of a reaction is an endothermic reaction. Okay, so exothermic and endothermic reaction. When we were talking about the zinc granules, students, so we have taken the zinc granules and added into the dilute sulfuric acid. you have seen that there is a formation of a bubble, reaction take place. Not only that, but heat is also produced. How we come to know that heat is produced? When you touch the test tube, we will find that it is hot. So this proves that the reactant, they produces the heat. So we will discuss about these two reactions as well as the change in the temperature in the next class.